Seijiro Takeshita is Professor of Management and Information at Japan's University of Shizuoka.
He was pushed, but we all were kind of expecting this because tomorrow was a deadline of whether to have LDP election or not this fall. So obviously, if this went on to have an LDP election in fall, it would mean that there would be further division within the LDP, which would be very devastating, especially at this point when LDP faced a very, very big loss on their upper house election this year, and also, on the lower house election before that. So obviously, I think there's a lot of LDP members who urged Mr. Ishiba to sustain the solidarity within the LDP, therefore, for him to resign or at least make an announcement of resignation today.
Now, of course, this comes just after the settlement over US tariffs with Washington. Was that not seen as a success for Shigeru Ishiba?
Well, to a certain degree, yes, he did set some milestone, but we all know that the request, or I should say requirement, it is totally unpredictable, and we could change tomorrow. And the fact of the matter is yes, we have a bit of a relief, that came down from 25% to 15%, and as far as, especially like auto tariff is concerned, but there is no logical consistency in the number that was given out in the first place. Just to remind you, we have 15%, tax that's a label on our Japanese cars to the United States, but the United States and American cars to Japan, the taxation is 0. So, there's a lot of, logical inconsistency that has not been answered, that has not been questioned by the Japanese government. And from that point of view, I really don't blame them because they're not going to get any answer or any feasible answer from that, administration in Washington.
Now, you mentioned the LDP's recent losses. The Liberal Democratic Party, of course, has governed Japan for nearly 70 years, but under Ishiba, it lost its majority in the lower house for the first time in 15 years, then lost its majority in the upper house. I mean, could you say that the party is in crisis? What has really led to this? Firstly,
they really didn't answer the needs of the public to make their life a lot easier. For example, widening the income tax exemption limit, which the I think it was Democratic Party for the People in Japan has been yelling about. The government basically halted to do that. They didn't really explain about the continued complexity of our, pension system, social security system. So what has happened to the Japanese public is they don't have any strong milestone or target for things to get better. And at the same time, anxiety has been mounting, especially exacerbated by the inflationary fears. So, the LDP, in my opinion, really didn't do anything. They didn't really listen, or they didn't really touch the areas where, the voters are concerned the most. And some of the smaller party did exactly that, Democratic Party for the People or Sanseito, who are not the major, opposition, but, gain a very, very big, support because they are the ones who at least tackled or at least addressed these problems.